and welcome to Knit All the Things. My name is Laurel. I'm also known as West Maven on Instagram, Ravelry, and here. If you're new, this is a space where I talk about all the things I'm knitting, all the things I want to knit, all things yarn, just all the things. And if you're returning, welcome back, knitting bestie. I can't wait to catch up with you. In this episode, I'm gonna share with you a brand new cast on. I haven't shared this at all yet, and I'm really excited to share it with you because I feel like it really has brought back the joy of knitting into my life. And I was really looking for a project just like this, so I really am excited to share it with you. I also have a really cool DIY embroidery kit that I stumbled upon. I made one of these things for my kids, and I think you guys might like it, so I wanted to share that with you as well. We have project updates and so much more, so grab your knitting, get cozy, and let's go. So let's really quickly talk about what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Robinia sweater. This is a pattern by Anne Ventzel. And when I was setting up for the podcast, I decided to check some of the measurements because I feel like the sweater is much larger than maybe it was intended to be. And it's been a long time since I've knit it, so I'm not exactly sure. So this is knit from the top down. You knit the sleeves in the round and the body in the round. And the one thing I will say that I did with this one was I didn't realize that the back would have one of these extra repeats because on my sweater, it's all kind of, it's not super uniform. So I have dark blue and then I have kind of a green. And so on the back, I have two green stripes next to each other just because that's how it was gonna have to be. I realized at the time it felt like a very big deal, but now looking back, I don't think it's all that noticeable. I used Chelsea Luxe yarns that I got from a D-stash for the main color, held with Cosmic Tie-Dye by Wandering Flock mohair, which I feel like gives a little bit more brightness to the color. The original kind of main color skeins are a little bit, I would say, on the dull side, but the kind of tie-dyed colors brighten up, I feel like, the overall sweater. And then I held Ken Yarns, I think it's called Baby Boy or Baby Blue something. I think it was Baby Boy. It's a dark blue mohair with both of these colors. So I just ended up using the dark blue mohair, and then this is a Treehouse Knits, two colorways, I just don't remember the name. But I kind of just decided to make mine. I really wanted to make it. This was the yarn I had at the time. It's a DK held with a mohair throughout. And like I said, I decided to check my width, if you will, before starting because I was feeling like this looked larger than I think the size I knit. So I'm assuming, since it's been a long time, I really don't know. I'm assuming I probably knit a size medium. And the medium circumference is supposed to be 110 centimeters. I have no idea what that is in inches. And mine is 127 centimeters. So it's quite a bit larger. The only other thing is I could have knitted large, which seems a little odd to me, but that's 120 centimeters. This pattern is not quite isn't size inclusive. It only goes up to a 3XL. Again, like I said, maybe you could play with it a little bit, but it wouldn't necessarily be exactly how the pattern is intended. It has quite a bit of positive ease. I think I was trying to go for the same amount of ease as she has. I really, this is a very oversized sweater on me. I personally really love that, but I could see people not loving that. The sleeves are very voluminous, quite a bit of extra fabric on the sleeves, which you're kind of needing because it's basically part of your body. It's like half of the body on mine. So again, that's the Robinia by Anne Ventzel. I thought I would wear this because I have been working on one of her other patterns, and this is actually one of my warmer sweaters that I own just because the DK and the mohair held together make it quite warm. But it is a pretty cold day here, so I felt like it was going to be comfortable. But yeah, I love how this turned out. I love the colors. It's really strange. I never, ever, ever purchase blue yarn for my stash, like this deep blue. I never purchase it. I bought it in a D stash. I was like, oh, this is a good deal. I'll just grab it. And I thought I was going to make something for my kids and then ended up going a different direction. So I just kind of had it laying around and I was like, what could I make? So this was just what I decided. But it's kind of funny to me because I actually have quite a few darker blue sweaters, but I just never keep that yarn in stash. It's like I buy it and then I immediately knit with it. So maybe I should consider that when I'm out looking for yarn, that I actually do quite gravitate towards this like navy dark blue. Okay, so the Rabinia sweater by Anne Ventzel. She also has, I think the gauge on this one is 16 stitches by 23 rows. Again, I don't know about this one, but that's what the gauge was supposed to be. And then she has a lightweight and a tee as well. Okay, so I've been all over the place. Let me show you my progress on my diamond jacket. So I feel like I kind of was getting close to this spot anyway, but this is the back panel for the diamond jacket. I'm using Knit Picks Wonderfluff yarn, and I have some feelings about this yarn. So I think it will be fine to wear, but I really, this is probably gonna come across a little bit of yarn snobbery. I think it knits up beautifully. I love how it is. I can feel the like polyamide nylon, whatever the blend is. It's a baby alpaca, 70%, 23% nylon, and 7% merino. So I don't know if it's just because of the way that it's made. It's like a tube that's been blown in, but I can kind of feel in my hands when I'm knitting that feeling. And maybe that's just totally in my mind, but that's what I feel like I'm feeling. So that's been different. I think if you wanted to forego that feeling, you could certainly substitute Kamaro's Snefnug or the original yarn, which is, I haven't found it in the US. I was going to just actually knit the pattern, and I had purchased the pattern right when it came out, and I wanted to immediately knit it. Even though I was a very new beginner, it would have been like my third sweater ever. And I couldn't find yarn for it for a really long time, and I ended up finally deciding on the Knit Picks Wonderfluff. But the original yarn is called, if I pronounce this wrong, I'm sorry. It's Jacquard Puno yarn, and again, it is still that blown in. It's a very light yarn, so this will use quite a lot of yarn in general, but it's very light. It's going to be a very light, wearable garment when it's done. But I couldn't find the original Jacquard Puno yarn anywhere in the US. There was one person that carried it and then they quit carrying it, so I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I was like holding out to cast on until I could find yarn. So one option was Snefnug, but it wasn't available in the US yet, like it now is, and now even one of my local yarn stores carries it, but at the time they didn't. And so Wonderfluff was like my option that I found. There was a knitter on Ravelry that had used this yarn and hers looked really nice, and so I just kind of went with that. I will say too, I didn't do a great job with yarn choice. I believe at the time they didn't have a solid black, which they now do. I would have probably picked that if I had bought the yarn like yesterday, but I ended up going with this charcoal color. It's called Wellies on their website, and it is like a charcoal black, or a was it melange? It's not like a solid black. It's a black with like whitish, grayish pieces throughout, and I think it'll look nice once it gets going, but I would have probably picked a solid color for this pattern. Beyond that, I just haven't had the time or space with my latest cast on to pick this back up, but I am at a point where I will next be picking up stitches along the edges of the shoulders to then cast on the front panels before eventually continuing in the round. So that's where I'm at with that. It has been a very fast knit, and the kind of diamond pattern I feel like is looking really good, and I ended up going down a needle size from the pattern, so I think that the pattern, Trying to remember. I think that the pattern calls for a US 10, and I think I'm on a US 9 right now. I don't have my glasses, so I can't see, but I'm pretty sure I did go down a needle size, just one. So that's where I ended up on that one. Okay, next up, I have a lovely knitting bestie, Lena. She is known as Sabbatical Knits on Instagram, and we have been chatting back and forth for quite some time. We've done a test knit together, and I just really admire her knitting quite a lot. And she and I were chatting back and forth about our knitting mojo. And I was saying like, oh, I don't know, I'm just having a hard time. And so she peeked at my queue and was like, oh, I've been wanting to knit this sweater for quite some time. And I was like, oh, well, let's just do it. Because I had the yarn already. I had purchased it as I had gotten a gift card to Purl Soho. So I purchased this linen quill in the color Poppy, which is the pattern's color. And so she grabbed some yarn and we decided to cast on. So I have been working on the Tulip Guernsey by Midori Hirose. This is a colorway Poppy and linen quill. And you can do this one of two ways. You can purchase the linen quill worsted weight, which I think is still a thing. I don't know, I should check. If it's not a thing, I'll put it on the screen. Or as she does in the pattern, she just holds the fingering double. And it held double because I've knit the half and half triangles wrap in linen quill, but that's the only other thing I've knit. And I held it single. It feels nice and it's squishy, but let me tell you, holding it double is like a dream. So I am grateful that she said, let's do this one, because it's been in my queue for a very long time. The original picture in this color, I don't know who she has modeling it, but it just really caught my eye and has been kind of on my mind for a long time. And I just think it's awesome. It is a bit of a bright color for me to wear, but I like it. I like it a lot. So it has these beautiful tulip pattern and cables. Then you have, what is this called? Like a half, I'm trying to think. It's like a modified garter stitch on the edge where you're having these, why can't I think of the word, guys? I'm sure you're screaming it at me, but I can't think of the name. You have this ribbing, which is really pretty on either side. And then you just do stockinette. So I'm in stockinette on the round on the body, which I'm so happy to have something in stockinette to knit. And again, like I said, this, I wish you could feel this. I wish you could feel this through the screen. It is really so soft and like bouncy feeling. I really love linen quill because it has like a dry quality to the yarn. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's soft and it's bouncy and it's, I don't know, there's something about it makes me feel like the word dry describes it well. I know there's not like wet yarn that go with me on this. It's not like got a sticky or anything feel to it. It's a nice dry feeling. So in this pattern, you cast on the front and the back separately, and then you seam the shoulders together, and then you join in the round and you knit stockinette for a while, do some ribbing. Then when you go to pick up the arm, the sleeves, you do a little bit of a sleeve cap so it gives it a nice shape. And then I think you do, I'm assuming you do some decreases on the sleeve. I have 4 skeins of this linen quill and I just ordered them based on, I love this about Midori. So when she does a pattern, she always posts her project pages on the Ravelry as well. And so the one that she made in this color, I saw that she made it in a size medium, which is the size I'm making, and she only used 4 skeins. It calls for 5 in the pattern. However, she had stated on her, I mean, I love that she gives so much information. I really need to be better at this, but she states that her skeins were like a little heavy. They were a little over. So I weighed all my skeins when I first got them. They are about, 104 to 105 grams. So it's got a little bit more yardage, and I'm hoping I'll be okay. I know I'm going to be playing Yarn Chicken, and I also chose to knit this. Her needle suggestion on this one might be a size 9. I feel like I'm knitting everything large. I'll write it down. But I think it might be a size 9, and in her project page, I think she was knitting on a smaller size, like a 8.5 or something like that. Half a size smaller. So we'll see. I'm nervous on this one because I really probably am gonna have to buy another skein of yarn. I think if I do and I totally run out, here's what the plan is right now. I will finish everything that I can, and then if I have to rip out the ribbing from anywhere, then I will just knit all of the ribbing, all of the neckband, all of everything in the new skein and just call it a day. Because there's no way. This yarn was purchased over 2 years ago. It's not gonna be the same. So that's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. So that's kind of what I'm planning on doing. But just look at this beautiful seam detail, the way she has you seams, so you have just these nice lines. I just really think this is gonna be so nice. And I really think it's gonna be quite a longer wearing sweater, even though it is a thicker material. The gauge is on, I would say, a little bit on the loose side. Like, it's certainly, I don't know if you guys can tell, it's a little bit on the looser side. It's gonna be nice. I think it's gonna wear really well. I think I'm gonna be able to wear this more months than not. So I'm excited to get this done. The tulip pattern, super simple to do. Everything I would say is, I wouldn't say this is a beginner sweater by any means. She does have a lot of tutorials on each of her patterns so that you can do everything correctly. But I will say, this is what I suggest if you want to knit this. I print out her patterns. I almost never print out patterns anymore. I always just use my device of some kind. But for hers, I print out patterns, and here's why. And I'm sure one of you will tell me that I can do this on my phone, and I probably should, but this is where we're at. I literally go through each and every thing, and I highlight what I'm going to need to do. So for example, this is like join the shoulder. Everybody joins the shoulder. So I highlight, put as much information so I know that when I get to that point, my size is doing this. And I do that for each section, each thing, because she has thankfully a lot of explaining and different things. And each size sometimes has its own different instructions. And so highlighting, marking, I keep track of, like, I won't show the pattern, but like on this portion, you're supposed to be doing rows A, B, C, D, or whatever it is. And so what I like to do is I start writing down the things, like each time I do a row, just so that I am like paying attention to what I'm doing. For example, there is a point where you're supposed to do, I think, additional short rows, or there's something that you're doing, and I almost entirely skipped it. But I had highlighted it, and as I was going to like the next page, I was like, wait a second, stop. I've got to actually go back and make sure I'm doing this correctly. So once you read the instructions, once you get going, I feel like they're intuitive as far as what she wants you to do, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the pattern. And so my recommendation would be print it out. There's actually pages in this that I take out of the pattern because it's like sizes that don't include mine. So I hope that helps if you're planning on knitting this. Like I said, it's not even a complaint, it's just something that I would suggest doing because it can be difficult if you don't. So thank you so much to Lena for suggesting casting this on. Definitely go follow her. I'll link her in the description below. But she is at Sabbatical Knits on Instagram. I also really quickly want to say, if you would like information on this episode, like patterns I mentioned, yarn I mentioned, any of those things, I have a newsletter which is linked below. If you sign up for the newsletter, then I send out the links to everything I talk about in each episode, so you don't have to like worry about forgetting anything. And that being said, I know with a lot of social media negativity, I'm currently focusing on YouTube. If you want to send me a message that I will 100% get, you can message me on Instagram because I check it every so often. But any comments or anything here, I'm always checking. I'm trying to be a little bit better about responding. I always read all of them. I'm trying to set some time aside to make sure that I'm responding to you guys as well here. But for right now, if you needed me to see something as messaging wise, make sure to send me a message there. Otherwise, comment here because that's where you will get more of my attention, if you will. So that was the Tulip Guernsey by Midori Hirose. It really has been so fun. It's just enough like different stuff going on, but easy to follow. The tulips are really cute. This will be fun. I'm excited to wear this. I'm excited to get this done so I can wear it. Like I said, a little nervous about running out of yarn. I will show you this because I find it helpful. I am also making the Purl Soho half and half triangle strap in Super Orange. So this is the colorway Poppy, and this is Super Orange just as a comparison. They both definitely have orange tones. This one is more red, obviously, but just so you can kind of get an idea. Because I think sometimes when you're trying to pick colors on their website, it's really hard for me to like decide the nuances of a color. So if that helps, I hope that helps. Since I mentioned it, I will share a little bit. I have been working again on my half and half triangles wrap. I think I only did like 1 inch since we last spoke. But this has been nice to just take with me if I need something. But now that I'm stuck in it on that sweater, that one's gonna go, it's gonna go places with me. Because I really like that. And I'm really excited to like finish this ball of yarn and get to a sleeve because that's where I love Sleeve Island. I could move there. It's always like the best part because I feel like it goes so quickly. So I want to get to Sleeve Island soon. Okay, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, I wanted to share with you guys this really cool kit that I came across. I went to my local fabric store, sewing store. It's called Bolt in Portland. So if you are in Portland, go check it out. It's really cute. And they had all kinds of things. I don't know why I went there to begin with, but I think I was just needing a little inspiration. And because I was feeling like not as enthusiastic on knitting as I wanted to be, I find that when I do a few other things that my appreciation and excitement kind of returns. So I decided that one of the things I would like to be better at in general would be embroidery, because I would eventually like to like embroider things on some of my knits, and I don't feel confident in that skill. So when I went there, I found that they had these amazing kits. They are by Kiriki Press. They're the DIY embroidered doll kit. I made the bat. It's really cute. This is the kit that you get, and it comes with a little instruction card on how to do, like what to do first, etc. It comes with all of the thread and a needle that you will need, and it comes with stuffing, which we'll get to in a second. I think I went a little bit overboard on that. Okay, so this is what it's supposed to look like when you're done. What you have to purchase, so what it doesn't come with is a hoop and scissors. That's it. So they had these hoops. I think you need a 6-inch or a 5-inch, I can't remember, hoop. And here's mine. Okay, so here's what I did wrong. I'll show it first. It's pretty cute, little bat. It definitely, so when you are sewing on it, it's screen printed so you can see like where these stitches go, etc. I would say, and there's tutorials on their website. What I did wrong, and I didn't realize until later when I was like, I feel like this looks different than the one at the store, but I couldn't figure out why. One instruction I did not do correctly, which I just didn't, I read it and it didn't click for me. You're supposed to do an outer stitch around the whole thing, and then you're supposed to go around the body and stitch together. And I'm thinking, because I'm not 100% sure on this, I feel like the wings shouldn't be full of fluff. I think the wings and the ears were supposed to be empty, so they're more floppy. I don't know. So mine's a little bit funky. Also, I'm not perfect by any means, so there's like some of the, trying to find a spot, like right here. That's where it was printed, and I just didn't do the best job when I was embroidering around the edge. Like I couldn't line him up as well with his backside. So it is what it is. I think it's cute still. My oldest son would like one. I will say, I'm one of those people, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's all I needed. And I feel like I don't need to do this for a while. But now I need to do a second one. The kits come in 3 levels of embroidery. This is level 1. They go up to a level 3. Level 1 is like basic stitches like this, fairly simple. I added like a little stitching on the back just to like make him a little more special, but I would say level 1 is only one side. And then level 2, I would say, is a little more of the animal is embroidered, and there's maybe a couple stitches that I would say are more advanced. Again, you can look up the tutorials for these. And then the 3rd level, almost the whole front, like every piece of fabric that you see is covered. So one example would be they have like a bird, and so this everything has been embroidered. So if you're super into embroidery, maybe you want to try one of the harder ones, but this one was good enough for me. I think it would make a really cute little present. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you. Again, this is in no way sponsored. I just, since it was something I have been working on this week, I wanted to share it. And I just really loved that it was such a tiny little cute thing. You can get them at your local sewing stores if you want to, or you don't have that near you. You can order it from them. If you're in Canada, it's a Canadian company. So you can probably just, I would order them directly or find them in a store near you. And if you are in the US and you don't have any sewing stores or have that available to you, check online, but if not, I will link because they are available on Amazon as well, but that way you can find it. And the only other thing I bought was just a little beeswax bar so that I could wax my thread to make it a little easier. So that's that kit. Again, the Kiriki press DIY dolls. I'll hopefully have put something a little more about them, but I thought they were so cute and I thought you guys would like them a lot. So I really wanted to share that. Other than that, I have been mostly listening to audiobooks. I just finished Ruth Ware's The It Girl, and it surprised me because I actually thought I kind of partially through, I was like, did I do this again before I listened to this book? The answer is no, because I didn't actually know what happened at the end. But it definitely follows a formula of like her other books. So if you do like her books, I would say get it. It was okay. I wouldn't say it's my most favorite of all the books that she's done. I feel like there's other ones I like better, but it's okay. It was a good, it's a very long book. I think it was like 17-hour audiobook. So if you need something good to listen to for a while, I thought it was okay. And then I have also been working on, which I don't think I've shared with you guys. I'm a human design reader. And so I have been just taking another course on that. And so that's taken up a lot of my time and taken up a lot of like things that I'm listening to. If you guys want to know more, you can message me, but that's what I have been doing. So I have just been really excited to get to my stockinette so that I actually can like listen and kind of be focusing on those things. But that's it. So I have I'm going to try to finish the sweater. Do you think I can finish it by the time we get together again? I hope so. Really do. I've really enjoyed it. And I also think, because I know I had kind of teased it before, the antique filigree sweater, I had 3 colors of dyed in the wool that I was kind of considering, like, how am I going to work this out? And here's what I've come up with, and let me know what you think. I think I can make all 3 colors work, even though they are maybe not the best, if I color manage. Because I really think if I like get crazy with the color management, I think it will look amazing. That's what it's been toying with me, because it wasn't something I just wanted to instantly cast on. But now that I've been thinking like, oh, I could just like micromanage my color more on the color work of the sweater, I'm kind of getting more excited about it. So that's where I'm at. Also, I'm on Blue Sky. I'm not active there. I just signed up. That's all I've got. But I don't know how it works. I haven't really spent a lot of time with the app, so I will have to check. If that is a messaging platform, which I do have notifications on for that, send me a message there. You can try it out. Because I would like to like move past some things, but let me know. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next couple of weeks. I hope to be doing a pattern roundup very soon. If there is something specific you would like me to do, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in 2 weeks. If we're not yet knitting besties, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. It tells YouTube that other fiber enthusiasts like yourself enjoy this type of content. Until 2 weeks from now, make some yarn magic. Bye!